So what made this rich man climb a tree? So if you would just walk with me as I take my spiritual mind on a hypothetical journey to try to find out what made this rich tax collector climb a tree. What I have to do is I have to go back a few days before we got to Luke 19 and follow Zacchaeus on his rounds of collecting taxes. He got up one morning on the appointed time when taxes were due. Got out of bed, told Mrs. Zacchaeus, I don't have time to eat breakfast, I gotta go collect the taxes. Grabs his itinerary, his portfolio, his day planner, makes his way out of the house, and heads down the road to his first assignment. He gets to the house, and the house is in disarray. The grass is all grown up. The roof is falling apart. There seemed to be a cloud of darkness around the house. Walks up and knocks on the door. Out of the back room distance comes a feeble, squeaky voice. Asks the question, who is it? He said, my name is Zacchaeus, and you know why I'm here. We do it every year. I'm here to collect the taxes. The voice says, come in, I can't get up. I've got some problems that I've been having for a while. Has me stuck in this bed. My insurance has run out. And even when I had it, the doctors could not find out why. I kept bleeding. So, Mr. Zacchaeus, I haven't been able to work. So, I'm going to just ask if I could just beg for your mercy. If you give me a little time, I'll see what I can do, but I don't have the money now. Zacchaeus, whose record was impeccable, not willing to have it blemished, but somehow he felt a little bit of pity. Says to the woman, now listen, I'm going to be back at your house in about 15 days. When I get back here, you don't have my taxes, I'm going to foreclose on your house and take it. Don't care how sick you are. With that, he turned around and walked out the door and back down the wall. Opened up his day plan and looked at it and said, let me keep going. Got to the next house. This house, too, seemed like nobody was keeping it up. Grass was grown up and all of that. Knocked on the door. Man came to the door. He was fumbling around and feeling around. He said, who is it? He said, don't you know who I am? Can't you see me? He said, no, I can't see. I can't see. Who are you? I'm Zacchaeus, the tax collector. He said, Mr. Zacchaeus, as you can see, I can't see you, and so I can't see to work. I'm blind. And I don't have no money for no taxes. You do whatever you need to do. I can't see. Zacchaeus says here, well, I was just at your neighbor's house, heard the same sob story. I'm going to tell you like I told her. I'll be back in 15 days if you don't have my money, blind as though you may be. I'm going to take what I need to take to satisfy your tax bill. With that, his last look, his day planner had one more call on him. He said, well, I've never had a day like this. Let me go on to my next one. Got to the next one, and this one he saw that this one really looked in pitiful shape. This one was worse than all the others he had seen that day, and he walked up and he saw that there was a sense of longing at this home. Out in the door, a woman came. She said, I know who you are. She said, but you need to understand that my husband is over there in the graveyard acting like a crazy man. I had to put him out, get a restraining order against him. Cutting himself and running around the grave, and I don't know what to do with him, and he hasn't given me any money or paid anything, and so therefore I don't have any money to not only not fix up my house, but I don't have any money to pay your taxes either. Zacchaeus looked at the day and said, listen, I've heard this 2 times already. You are my last appointment of the day. I tell you what, I'll give you the same 15 days. I'll be back here. If you don't have it, I'm going to take your house just like I'm going to take their house too. With that, he turned around and walked back to the house. His wife met him at the door. She could see that he looked differently than he usually looked. He said to her, Miss Zacchaeus, I ain't never had a day like this. I haven't been able to collect any of the taxes. You know how my record is. I'm number 1 in tax collecting. I'm the chief tax collector. That's whatever day like this. He said, I told them I'm going to give them 15 days, and then I'm coming back. If they don't have it, I'm taking what they have. 15 days passed quickly, and finally it got to the day. Got up that morning and said, honey, would you fix me a big breakfast? I'm going to have a good day today. I'm going to collect the tax. If I don't get taxes, I'm going to get somebody's house. She fixed him a big old breakfast of stripples and all of that. Egg whites and all of that. Zacchaeus ate, grabbed his day plan and said, honey, I'm gone. And he headed out the door. Walked down the road a bit, got to his first appointment. But when he got to the house this day, in 15 days, the grass has been cut. The roof has been fixed. And it seemed like the house was all lit up. Walked up to the door, expecting to hear that same squeaky voice from the back, but instead, this nice-looking woman met him at the door. He said, our name is Zacchaeus here. I told the lady of the house I'd be back, and she's back in the room back there. Could you go and get her, tell her I'm back like I said I would be? She said, Mr. Zacchaeus, don't you recognize me? She said, I'm the one that was back there. He said, no, the woman I saw was on her bed talking about she had some kind of problem with bleeding and all that and been sick and insurance and run out. She said, Miss Zacchaeus, come on, sit down on my couch. Let me tell you the story. Let me tell you the story. She said, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. She said, I finally got enough strength to get myself up and get myself dressed. Made my way downtown. When I got down there was a whole bunch of commotion going on. Yes, sir. Yes. There was a crowd of people following this man. Yes, yes. She said it was so crowded I couldn't even get to him. I was feeble and weak. I couldn't get to him. All I could do was reach out and touch the hem of his garment. She said, I touched the hem of his garment. When I touched the hem of his garment, my blood hemorrhage dried up. My blood hemorrhage dried up. I got my strength back. When I got my strength back, I went down to the Social Security office and got everything straight. Got my money, got a job, got my house fixed up, and she pulled out an envelope. Here's the money for your taxes. That kid looked there, his face in bewilderment. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Walked out of the house shaking his head. What in the world has just happened? Grabbed his day planner and decided to walk on down to the next house. Got down to the next house, and this house too, grass cut, must have used the same gardener. House all fixed up. Walked up, knocked on the door, expecting the man to come who couldn't see. Instead, the man come prancing to the door, opened the door. He said, "You must be Zacchaeus." I said, "How can you tell?" He said, "I can see you." I said, "Mr. Zacchaeus, I'm that man. Come on in. By the way, my name is Bartimaeus. Have a seat. Let me tell you the story." He told him the story. He said, "Listen, my name is Bartimaeus, and I used to go down and beg over by the highway side all the time. And I was down there one day begging like I normally do, and I heard some footsteps, like the unusual footsteps. Never heard these kind of steps before. And I started crying out because I heard rumor of this man. And I started crying out, 'Jesus, thou Son of God, have mercy on me.' Yeah, they tried to tell me to be quiet. They tried to tell me, they tried to shush me. But the more they tried to tell me to be quiet, the louder I got. You see, every now and then, you got to get loud when God's going to do something for you. The louder I got, I said, 'Jesus!' Jesus heard me and he commanded them to bring me to him. And when I got to him, he asked me what I want. I said, 'I want to see.' He touched me, gave me back my sight. I was able to sell my seeing eye dog. Now I got your money for your taxes. Oh, Lord have mercy." He said, "What was his name again?" His name was Jesus. 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 He walked out of the house shaking his head. Jesus. He said, "Well, I got one more house on my list." And he was just shaking his head, got down to the next house. Grass cut, house fixed up. Knocked on the door. Instead of a woman coming to the door, a man came to the door. He said, "I'm here to see the lady of the house." She said her husband, she had to put him out, put a restraining order on him. He was over in the tombs cutting himself. He was out of his mind. He was insane. He said, "You must be Zacchaeus." My wife was telling me, "Your wife?" "Yeah, my wife. Come on in. Come on in. Let me tell you the story." That time his wife walked in. She said, "Honey, no, He said, "No, let me tell my story." Mr. Zacchaeus said, "Yeah, I lost my mind. My wife had to put me out because I wasn't acting right. And I was over there in the tombs running around cutting myself. And while I was doing all that, a man walked by the name of Jesus. He asked me what was wrong. I said, I'm possessed by demons." And he spoke to the demons, and they told him their name was Legion. And he commanded them, this man had so much power, he commanded them to come out of me. Put them in some swine. When he brought them out of me, I came back to my right mind. When I came back to my right mind, I went back to my right job. Went back to my right job, got paid, able to fix up the house, and I got the money for your taxes. Zacchaeus said, "Oh, there must be something about this thing. I've been to 3 houses, and every one of them talking about this man named Jesus. I've got to meet Jesus, but I'm just too short to meet him. I hear he's coming by, but I've got to see him, and I'm going to climb a tree just to get to Jesus, because if Jesus can heal them, maybe he can fix my selfish spirit too." I stopped by Bethel to tell you, do you want to meet Jesus? Would you like to meet Jesus? Has somebody in here met Jesus? If you met Jesus, if he's done something for you, somebody ought to stand up and say, "Preacher, I know what you're talking about. I know what's happened. I've met Jesus. I've seen Jesus do it. I've watched him do it." Would somebody shout amen out there? So why did a rich man climb a tree? Because it was Jesus he wanted to see.